I want to make some content.
I'm just trying to be myself. I got everybody mad at me for it.
It's been a while. We haven't touched this channel. It's been pristine clean for a while, all right? And I thought, might as well do like a little, a little content challenge, an editing challenge. How fast can I edit this video? Can I make it good? Can I make the thumbnail good? Whatever the case may be. So we're just here. So I got inspired. Let me take this off. This is a mess, actually. All right. We wear bonnets around here. We like our hair. We want to look good for the huzz. Also, I wear glasses now, by the way. I'm a glasses wearer. I'm Unk status. Let's go. You be proud of Unk status. All my Unks out there. Anybody who went to high school with me and you're watching this, you probably are because you're a sucker, actually. We're Unk status, all right? Embrace it. So I'm kind of late to the party, but that's fine because I didn't want to look like I was following trends, all right? When you're late to the party, that makes you more set apart. It's like when a Netflix show starts popping off in like 2016 and you're like, nah, I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to watch that. It look lame. And then 2022 comes around and you're like, I'll give it a shot. And it's like the most fire thing ever. And you get to enjoy it by yourself without like a fandom all in your ear. That's what I'm doing right now with this video. So Kai Cenat inspired me a little bit. He was doing his old Vive, whatever, his clothing line where it's like, you do that, bro. Like, start a clothing line, I guess, if you feel like God's called you to do this, whatever. And what he's been doing, or what he was doing, I guess, is he was doing like the 20-minute reading. We all seen the clip.
Intention is a strategy you can use. Specific time and location, the implementation intention.
And like, okay, yeah, maybe part of it was performative, but like, when you're trying to sell something, is it like half of that being performative? Like whatever. So I'm not going to be on his case for that. I'm not going to ride the balls of a Sir Kai Cenat. If that's what he wants to do, like, I'm not going to bust your balls for like wanting to read better, right? So that's what we're going to do actually. Cause I guess it's on display right now. I've always thought of myself as like not the best speaker, right? I lose my train of thought a lot. I can't find the words. I slur. When I get nervous, in certain situations, I'll start to stutter. I hate that about myself. So what I think I want to do is, I think every week I want to come back and do what Kai Cenat was doing and just read for like 20 minutes or so. Probably we'll start with like 10 minutes first just to get you guys into it because I know content like this is kind of, it's hit or miss around here, so we'll spice it up somehow, right? And the idea that I kind of had for this, I guess, I don't know if it's series or whatever I want to do, is I saw this video. It's kind of, I don't know if I'm ever gonna find it. It's kind of meta. It was a video in a video. It was a dude reacting to a video of this dude explaining as a speaking coach how he would make his clients a better speaker. Like he would give them these drills to run. I hope I can find this video because it was really informative and he had some good ideas in there.
Kai Cenat is trying to become a better speaker by reading out loud for 15 minutes at a time. This is a pretty good strategy, but if I were Kai Cenat's personal speaking coach, here are 4 more strategies I would give him to help him become a better speaker. First, work on enunciation. He's already kind of doing this with the reading, but Kai Cenat tends to speak really fast, which causes him to not enunciate certain words sometimes. So I would have him keep doing the reading drill, but make him enunciate every single word, like to an obnoxious extent. Even words like of or the should be enunciated super clearly. To take it a step even further, I would have him read out loud with a pen in his mouth. Literally have him speak like this. This drill will force him to pronounce words far more clearly and he will literally see the result as soon as he takes the pen out of his mouth. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. Second, I would have him work on speaking on topics off the top of his head. How you say things is half the challenge. What you say is the other half. The best way to train this is learning how to speak on the fly. As an ex-live streamer, Kai Cenat is no stranger to this. To do this, I would give him a random topic and force him to speak on it for 10 straight minutes with no preparation. As he does this more and more, his ability to think while he speaks will improve. Third, I would tell Kai Cenat to keep practicing publicly. Everybody in the comments is clowning Kai Cenat for the way that he reads in these videos. But I'm sure for him, this was not only expected, but beneficial. Getting good at anything meaningful requires some form of a humiliation ritual. And finally, fourth, I would have him join the waitlist for Speakeasy. Or if he happens to see this, I would give him early access so he can practice on his own every day.
One of the ideas was like, I would make my client speak with a pen in his mouth for like a extended period of time so he could work on his pronunciation, things like this. So I think I just add on stuff to it. Just to see if like, we can, if I can see some, I don't know. See, look at me, I can't find the word. see some results. Takes you a while. You gotta think. You gotta sit there and think. All right. So we're gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go to the bathroom first, and after that I'm gonna go grab a book from the bookshelf, the trusty bookshelf. I don't want to move the. All right. Just know there's a bookshelf over there. I nigger rigged this. I don't want it to fall. Let me go to the restroom real quick. Don't move. Jacksepticeye real quick. Alright, we're back. We did a piss. I'm debating whether I want to keep that whole break in there or not. So we'll see when this video. Yeah, I'll get that in there. The book we're going to read, for a couple of reasons. It's going to be a political theory book. Alright, lock in. By Limbaugh. I don't know bro's first name. I thought it was Rush Limbaugh, but I guess he didn't write it. It's called Persecution, and it is about how, I guess, leftist. All right, we're gonna figure this out. Leftist. How do you explain this? It explains how leftist ideology penetrated like the school system that was originally Christian based and founded, and like throughout the course of a couple decades, basically secularized it, demonized Christianity in a way, and kind of cooked it public school the way it was meant to be. So let's figure this out right now. I'm not gonna start at chapter 1 because I already got a little far in it. So if you want to read chapter 1, I'm not that far. I'm only on page 26, right? So we'll figure this out. You can figure it out. I already read it. Let's start a timer for 10 minutes. Let's just end it at 10 minutes, and then as soon as the timer ends, the video will stop. And then that'll be the end of episode 1. We're good? 1, 2, 3, break. All right. Alexa, start a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
Thank you. So I'm just going to read normally so we get a baseline of what I do here, okay? Prayer-free pomp and circumstance. Even under conservative Chief Justice Rehnquist, though not because of him, the Supreme Court has added further restrictions on school prayer. In Lee v. Wiseman, 1992, the court, in a 5-4 decision, held that it is unconstitutional for public schools to include prayers given by clergy at their official graduation ceremonies. In this case, the principal, Robert E. Lee, had made the decision that a prayer should be given and selected the clergy member who was to deliver the prayer. That was too much involvement by the state for the narrow majority's comfort. Lower courts have split on whether school board members or superintendents may, as part of a graduation address, recite the Lord's Prayer or other prayers. In a case in Nebraska high school, a board member whose son was in a graduating class was permitted to lead students in the Lord's Prayer in his graduation address, but the ACLU is appealing the district court's ruling. In another Nebraska school district, however, the State Department of Education reprimanded the superintendent for leading students in the prayer at a graduation event. But what about student-initiated prayer at graduation ceremonies? Wait, what? But what about student-initiated prayer at graduation ceremonies? The reason why I picked this book a lot is because it has weird sentence structures. It has weird, like, words that I've never seen before. And I read at a, not bragging, like, not, feel me, relax. But I read at, like, a good level, like, probably higher than most people. Most people at, like, a 7th grade level is, like, the average. I'm probably, like, in a collegiate level. But there's some words in here. I'm like, what are we even talking about, gang? But what about the student-initiated prayer at graduation ceremonies? Well, it's a little less clear with conflicting decisions in lower court jurisdictions and with a great deal of murkiness as to what constitutes student-initiated prayer as distinguished from school-sponsored prayer. Like that whole sentence was like, this book is just on different. I don't know. Listen, blah. The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, for example, in Adler v. Duval County School Board in 2001, see below, ruled that student-led prayers at graduation ceremonies, unrestricted as to content, are constitutional. The 9th and 5th Circuits have held that student-led prayers are only permissible if they are non-sectarian and non-proselytizing. I actually never seen that word, proselytizing, before written down. That's a cool looking word. The Ninth Circuit found that schools districts' plenary control over the graduation ceremony meant that it would have borne the imprint of the district. The Third Circuit, meanwhile, ruled that the student-led prayers at graduating ceremonies are unconstitutional and at least implied their constitutionality wouldn't be saved even if they were non-sectarian and non-proselytizing. With this hodgepodge of opinions, I've never seen that word written out, by the way, of opinions, it is no wonder, then, that throughout the various jurisdictions, uncertainty reigns. The 11th Circuit case of Adler v. Duval County School Board in 2001 arose in Florida, where some students and their families were upset when the Duval County School District permitted its seniors to elect one of their classmates to deliver a religious message at graduation festivities. A student in one of the county's high schools chose to deliver a Christian-based message. In her remarks, the student thanked Jesus for dying for our sins and thanked God for raising him from the dead 3 days later, so that through your son's death we may be at peace with you and thereby may have fellowship with you. Jesus Christ. That's a long quotation, gang. A group of offended students and their parents filed a suit which ultimately failed because, according to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, the students selected the speaker and school officials did not review their remarks for approval, thus maintaining the school's neutrality. The United States Supreme Court refused to take the case, which means the student-led prayer at graduation ceremonies is probably safe for now in that circuit. I don't know. I guess I'll give my commentary as well, like while I'm reading the book. We're here. It's my channel. I can do what I want, right? So in the beginning of the book, it talks about, like I said before, how how it was the schools, public schools, were Christian founded. They were actually started off as private schools. They weren't state funded or anything like this. But it was very Christian based. They had like Christian textbooks basically being circulated in the thousands to many people. But then they just shifted. This case was in 2001. 2001. And it's talking about some students got offended and you got so offended by somebody just saying what they believe. Gang, things haven't changed. You can read that and I wouldn't give the year and you would think it's from yesterday, right? Being offended is so crazy. You guys might remember I did a video about like cancel culture and like how celebrities should respond. I still stand by it for sure. Maybe with less cussing, of course. I was tweaking back then. But this offense mob, it's literally just a tool that these people use in order to silence things that they understand would not allow them to, for lack of better terms, for the lack of lying, bro, to worship Satan. Like, they may not think it is because they don't believe in these things, but like, that's what you are doing. When your morality does not align with God's, even if you don't believe in it, you are being evil, gang. We can look at the statistics, we can look at the outcomes. People are like, I believe in science, whatever that means. So, okay, well, they use a scientific method to do a study and get results that say everything that you're doing is whack. Boo, right? But, I still want to do whatever I want, so it doesn't really matter. The studies can be on our side, the institutions could be on our side, and you'd still want to worship Satan. That's fine. Okay, do what you want to do. Even God gives us free will, right? But anyways, where was I even at? In another case, a Pennsylvania graduating high school senior actually had to threaten her school with a temporary restraining order before it would let her allude to her Christian faith in her graduation speech. The principal of Hollidaysburg area senior high school, so it skipped a line anyway. Area senior high school told Salutatorian. That's okay. Salutatorian is like Valedictorian and a valedictorian is the first in line, and then salutatorian, I think that's what it's called, is the second in line. I guess, I don't know. The first loser is like what we call them, probably. Shannon Ray, that it might be offensive to some if she spoke about Christ and asked her to rewrite her speech to make it more inclusive and diverse. Oh my God, what was this? All right, whatever. They're like the same language they're using today. It's so crazy. Things have not changed. Time is a flat circle, gang. But it was the school's instructions to her that her speech should focus on her life's path to graduation that had led her to discuss her religion in the first place. And this is a crucial point. Christ was central to her life, and it would have been intellectually dishonest of her not to emphasize that in her message. Yet those who would erect an enormous wall of separation between religion and public life forced people into such dishonesty. According to Ray's attorney, Joel Oster, she wanted to talk about what her religion meant to her and how it allowed her to get to the point where she was. She felt like if she had to give a speech with the religion struck out, it would be an incomplete speech. It would be a lie. Ray insisted that she wasn't trying to proselytize, but to share the reason for her success in school. The single greatest factor of which she believed was her dependence on Christ. The school finally retracted its demand that she delete the paragraphs touching on her Christianity when attorneys for Liberty Counsel said that interfering with the content of Ray's speech would lead to them to request a federal restraining order. Amazingly, even after the school backed down, the superintendent faxed Ray another message imploring her to delete those portions because to include them wouldn't be fair to everyone at the ceremony. There were separate rumblings that the school might end the tradition of having valedictorians or Alexa, stop. If you have an Alexa, I apologize. There were separate rumblings that the school might end the tradition of having valedictorians. I'm literally doing the meme. I'll hold my Alexa up. But I'll do it. Alexa. Bitch, you. Alexa. Oh, she don't want to work. Alexa. She acting funny because I picked her up. Anyways, I guess she doesn't want me to do the meme. Okay, let me finish off this sentence and then we'll lock it down. Where was I at? There were separate rumblings that the school might end the tradition of having valedictorians and salutatorians giving graduation speeches, lest future students make Christian illusions. Okay, and we'll put it there. I need to get a bookmark. I'm using this also. Okay. So what if I'm getting the series together. What if I read it for 10 minutes and then I'll describe what we read without saying or any filler words. Okay, 1, 2, 3, break. That's cool. So, if I can recall what we read, 10 minutes is a very long time for low IQ people like myself. We talked about the case in Pennsylvania last. That was the most recent case we talked about. And then before it was the Nebraska case. And in that Nebraska case, if I can remember, it talked about... That's another thing I struggle with, the recollection. It sucks. We can talk about something, but it would just be jumping in with a whole bunch of other things. I think it was just the speeches and the content. Oh yeah, the first one, they got offended. And so they came to the superintendent and was like, they're literally going to kill me because they are speaking about their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for which they believe is the reason for all of creation. I'm literally going to die. Do something about it. Kill them, literally. Right? And in the Pennsylvania case, it was the valedictorian or the salutatorian giving a speech. One of them was giving a speech that they didn't like, but then I can't remember. But the other one this was pre the speech. She hadn't even given the speech yet. She just submitted it for review, if I can remember that correctly. My comprehension skills, we gotta work on that as well. So how do I feel about these things? The title of the book says it all. It's persecution. In America, I would call it more so soft persecution, but I don't think I want to stick with that because I don't want to let it be belittled in culture for me saying that it's soft persecution, because that gives it the connotation that it really doesn't matter. The reason why I say soft persecution is because in Nigeria, they're literally being genocided. These people, they're just praying. They are just going to church and they are being killed in large numbers because of their faith. So do I want to make the delineation that there is soft persecution in the United States and then there is hard or just persecution in Nigeria? Probably not, actually, now that I think about it. I would just call it blanket persecution. It may just do it on different levels because our population of atheists are kind of just weaker than their population of whatever the heck they got going on. So I would just call it persecution. See, we made it somewhere. I talk about this all the time with the homie Dez and Nyla and my family, that I cannot find it in my heart to be mad at these people, because if you do not know, why would I expect you to care in any meaningful sense, right? Does this make sense? Paul, for instance, was persecuting, arresting, and getting these Christians killed. I believe killing them himself before coming to Christ and having an encounter with him. But that is probably the crux of the process of a Christian gaining faith in Christ, is that you must have an encounter with Christ first before you can put your faith in him. We were joking with the homie Randall. We had a meeting with him for this event, and Jesus just came up, just talking to him. I believe is a Philly word, so I'm going to say that was twice. And I lost my train of thought, by the way, because I got mixed up. We were talking about, so Randall was telling us that he went to some type of like church ceremony, or somebody was talking about, the Bible, Christianity. Say that again. And somewhere in the speech, the pastor, the speaker got up and said, if you do not accept Jesus Christ into your heart, you will go to hell, or something of that nature, right? And that rubbed Randall the wrong way. Completely understood. Randall, he wouldn't call himself a Christian. He would call himself more so spiritual, I guess, just, I believe in God. There is a God. I understand this. As to attribute him to what religion, I don't know. That's Randall's point of view. And me and Des made a joke along the lines of, how can you, commit? I didn't know. I say a lot. That's crazy. I did not know, or how could a person commit their life to the Lord or dedicate their life to the Lord? This random man, by the way, who claims that he's done these miracles, other people claim he's done, but you have never seen before, right? You give your life to him. You don't even know the guy. You just met him. Matter of fact, you haven't even met him. So you're telling me, you're giving me secondhand account of who this guy is, and you want me to literally dedicate my life to him? First of all, pause. Dedicate my life to another man is crazy. I'm straight. Second of all, what does this entail, giving my life up to him, right? Like, you have to break this down to me. I've never experienced this. So I'm saying all this to say that it takes an encounter. And if these people hadn't had an encounter with Christ, who are we to demand that they have faith in this thing that they have not seen, have not heard, did not taste, have not read upon? A lot of these people, they only know cherry pick verses from their favorite streamers, or things that they've just heard. So I can't find it in my heart to be angry at these people. I can find it in my heart to be sad and grieved and want to make a difference and make a change and just bring it up and see what they say. So that's what I encourage you to do as well in your life. That was cool. That was good. About 25, 30-minute video. Wrap it up. You like it? Cool. All right. So next time we come back, we'll read some more. Maybe a different book. Maybe the same one if you want. I don't know. We'll figure this out. Trying to say So I said I said like twice, something like this. I don't know. Maybe I'll tally it up. That was good. That was good. All right. I don't know how to end it. See you on the next everything.
I'm just trying to be myself. I got everybody mad at me for it. I hate to be so hot. They give me a plus battery for it.